You're listening to MRP, the Metal Robot Podcast.
One other thing that you did was you talked about how that you are passionate about political issues. Specifically, I think you talked about this with Schwermetalisch.
Schwermetalisch, I am.
Schwermetalisch, yes. And yet it seems that on your socials, again, going back to your socials, they're completely devoid of the subject. So I guess my question is, and I'm sure that whatever you say, any of my people on my friends list take note, how do you have that kind of restraint in 2022?
No, the thing is, look, it's like, I don't, but I throw it out in different ways. And I think that what I've kind of learned to accept, and this is a harsh lesson, but I have a lot of definite passionate opinions about things. But what I learned over the years is what I'm, and don't get me wrong, I'm not sugarcoating anything when I say this, but what I've learned over the years is that I've met a lot of people who are involved in political parties in the Netherlands. We don't have the system you guys have. We have like multiple parties you can choose from, and then they have to work together. That's kind of how that works, you know?
Yeah, I think the Canadian political system is kind of similar.
I think you guys have a bit of the same thing going on. Yeah,
it's not the same thing because I know we have the Liberals, we have the Conservatives, and we have the New Democratic Party. But it's still a bit different from the U.S. and I guarantee miles different from the Netherlands.
And it's just the way that it works for us is the Dutch have always been good at a thing called polderen, which is the act of actually creating land from the sea, because that's what we're known for. That's what we've done. And polderen means that you work together with a party that might not necessarily might actually be very far apart from you. But if it's like, okay, I give you this if I can have this, you know what I mean? It's that kind of way of doing politics. And I would say it's the worst thing we have, because I can't really think of a better democratic system, but there's like a lot of worse examples than this, so that's kind of what we're rolling with. You know, that's what it feels like.
I feel like many people in America would probably be like, well, at least something's getting done.
Yeah, because that's it. No, but it's like actually a lot gets done, but unfortunately also a lot of bad things get done, because it's like it's
lots of trade-offs.
Politics is obviously really hard, and I am choosing words carefully, because that's what I've learned is like I have quite a few people around me who don't vote the same parties I would vote for. And still, I love them, because I believe that for an open view of the world, I do need to, like, if I only surround myself with people going, yeah, all the time, then there's not a lot of thinking going on, you know?
Right.
It's like, so I do. Well, there's one line that I always draw, and the line that I draw is, if you don't treat me with respect, then we're done. You know, like there's no talking.
Exactly.
To you. The moment you start calling me names or whatever, or the moment you start calling me sheep or whatever, it's like, okay, fuck you.
Sir Man Bun, like nothing like that.
Yeah, it's like, you know, it's like that's the kind of stuff I'm just not, because the moment you start doing that, there's no debate anymore. There's no discussion anymore. Yet I am never made a secret out of the fact that I'm pretty left-wing on the spectrum. I am, and I'm unashamedly so. But that doesn't mean that if I would talk to someone who is right-wing and who has a decently supported story, I wouldn't listen, because there are definitely things on both ends of the spectrum that I can agree and disagree with. Hell, I've been arguing with a lot of left-wing people as well, even though I am left-wing. But that doesn't mean that I just blindly agree with everything that's being said on that angle. You know what I mean? It's like that's also why, for example, I could never become a part of one political party, because I've never found the political party that does literally what I want. Like, for me, voting, actually, we're voting this week. I'm probably going to vote tomorrow, because we can vote for a few days. We're voting for local governments here in the Netherlands now. So it's a bit smaller, but it's important, because the local governments make choices about housing, about what happens to the green areas, those kind of things. Pretty big deal, I'd say. And the thing is that I know for a fact that I'm surrounded by people who vote differently. And I can be pretty brutal regarding my criticism of those parties. And I'll never stop doing that. But what is funny is that I had people say, oh, you're so positive on the socials. And then in real life, you're so brutal sometimes. I'm like, yeah, because I feel that it makes more sense to be brutal about people, what they're voting in their face. I can tell someone to not vote for a certain party on Facebook. But you know what that will bring me? That will bring me what, 15 likes from the people that agree with me, and a comment section that is literal cancer. Sorry for using that word, but that's literally what it's going to be. It's not going to fix that won't do shit. But the moment I talk to someone who tells me, hey, I vote for this party, and I'm like, okay, thanks. You're voting for the party that literally destroyed my life the last 20 years. That is way more impactful saying that to someone's face and then seeing if they have the gusto or the balls to actually talk back and have a conversation with me after that.
Well, yeah, because the one thing that you learn pretty quickly is that this is something I learned too whenever I get into discussions about this. Like, I'm very quiet when it comes to my political views on the internet because no one needs to know what party I vote for, which party I think is dick balls. But the thing I've learned is dick balls. But
vote dick balls 2020.
But one thing I learned is that is like when you're online, the anonymity of who you are is very, very, it makes it easier for you to be like, well, I hope you get fucked with a chainsaw.
There you know,
go. But when you're in person and when you have the balls to say something like that to that person in person, and they're like, oh, it's a different story because
and what I also tried to do is, like I said, like just to rephrase it, I'm not saying you made my life miserable.
No, but the party, you're saying the party did.
Exactly. I am angry with parties. I'm angry with institutions. If there's a few political parties that have been in control in the Netherlands for a longer time, and I can see factually that my life got worse because of them. You can see all the policies they voted and everything they stand for. So then my conclusion is, fuck those parties. Does that mean that everyone who votes for those parties is evil? No, of course not.
No, like
that would be ridiculously stupid.
Yeah, because there's people I'm friends with I disagree with all the time, and I'm just like, you know what, whatever. Like it is what it is.
Exactly, and this is why. So if you're telling me why do you practice the restraint, it's really more of a logic thing that I'm like, it makes no sense. There's no point. I could post about the things that, and I am. I'll tell you right now, and everyone who doesn't believe me, there is days that I'm so fucking frustrated and fed up with people voting for certain things that I'm legitimately angry, and that I sometimes feel sorry for my neighbors for hearing me go, like I can feel like that. But what I then try to do, what I try to do is, first of all, maybe do a loud, hearty fuck to this guy, and then I'll start thinking, okay, but why am I angry? What angers me in this case? And often it's either me feeling like shit because I'm a highly sensitive person and sometimes you just don't have your day and then those things can anger you. Right. Or it can actually be a legitimate reason to be angry. And then I'd rather write about it and put it in a song than have a useless argument on the internet that is not going to help anybody because it only will vilify people. There's no point.
You just listened to MRP, the Metal